Alright, what's up everybody? Happy Friday. Let's get this going. I'm a little late, so we're not going to do the full 10-minute intro. I was repairing some stuff, trying to optimize my loading times. And I was also loading a scene for the PDF file, so that when I read it, you guys can read along. It's going to be on top of the game, so when it comes time for that, we're going to put that up there, and I'm going to read it, and we're going to have a good time. I haven't read it yet. I haven't listened to it yet. It's actually an audio drama. Like I said, I haven't listened to it yet. I know the synopsis of it. I don't know the content of it, so we'll see how that goes. This loading time thing clearly did not fucking work, because that was brutal. Alright, let's pop that back up. So hopefully no stream issues today. That's the plan. We'll see what happens. But we gotta do chores first. We gotta pick the flowers, make the dye, and then we can read. Better get my toy pet, whatever the fuck it is today. Why didn't you get it yesterday? I was almost live for 4 hours on Wednesday. Were you not here the whole time on Wednesday? And it is neither a pet or a toy. It is a Mrgl plushie for your house. It is a decor item.
Who wished to speak?
I mean, first of all, you didn't have to get it from me. Like, you could have got most of the way there and then just turn on another WoW stream. I mean, I didn't get it from watching me. I got it from watching Jen. Alright, not at 2,000 yet, so I can go straight back to the herb garden. Bro, I'm never on Twitch. I mean, I'm just saying, you had it loaded. All you had to do was just load up a different WoW streamer. Did it not? Give me... Were they all the same? Okay. Only got 3 flowers? That's crazy. Also, your chat box overlay is broken. Fuck. How about now? Nope, still broken. Well, son of a bitch. That's infuriating. Oh, I did move some stuff. I wonder if I got layered underneath it. No. It should be on top of it. That would be below the vertical one. That would be below the horizontal one. So it should be right there. Well, that's fucking infuriating. Why is something always broken, dude? I just want to fucking stream some shit, okay? It's a wonder why I wanted to fucking quit streaming, because this is fucking infuriating. The reason I brought it up is because my Twitch is always connecting to chat, so sometimes when people are typing, it doesn't show up, so your overlay is nice to see what they said. Yeah, well. Clearly that's gonna be a fucking problem tonight. $75, $570. Alright, well, I don't know what to do about it. It's fucking broken. I just made a new one and it didn't fucking work. Dude, that's so fucking... Oh! That's... Oh, that's so frustrating, dude. That's alright. I was trying to do something with a source. I was adding a source. So, the thing it says the most is disconnected accounts. Well, they can't be disconnected because I'm streaming. It's a source from Streamlabs. I can't do anything about it while I'm live, so fuck. Alright, back to what I was doing. Anyway, I was trying to set up this source, right? So, here's what I'm going to be doing later. I'm going to be reading this short story. I was setting up this source. My Stream Deck won't activate it and deactivate it on the horizontal. If you're watching the vertical stream, so TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, you'll see that I'm pushing the button and the story's going away. But if you're watching the horizontal one on YouTube or Twitch, you'll notice that it's just sitting there because it won't fucking activate on both of them. I gotta do it manually. So, lots of fucking problems. Because nothing can fucking work right. It's very frustrating. But the longer I fuck with that, the longer the chores are going to take, and the less time I'm going to have to read the story. But of course, something's broken. I've had, what, one good fucking stream this week? Let's see. I can do something. Let's see if this will work. I don't really want to do this long term, but it might work for now. I don't know if this is gonna work, so type something. Yep, there you go. There's chat box. Yeah, now I gotta change some shit. Eh. No, it just won't fucking start. There's pellets in it. I think there's pellets in the hopper too. Or in the bowl. Alright, well, I can't fix it right now. Like, it's not the right size. So, hide it on that. Let's see. This is frustrating. So how about that decal? Yeah, I like it. There's nothing in the bottom? Yeah. Oh, there was. Uh... Alright, I don't know. It got rid of the Twitch logo, so you won't see where the message is coming from, but nobody ever talks on the other platforms for the most part. So okay. Oh, hide badges. That's what we want. Alright. Type something now, Logan.
Hey, kitty. Cutie, cutie. What you doing?
The last.
Okay. Is that what you're having for dinner?
No, didn't work. That's because those platforms are so far behind. I checked YouTube to see, and I was like, damn. What do you mean they're so far behind? The streams are behind? TikTok looks like it's pretty close. Whatever. I got shit to do. Watch, I'm gonna take a break, and then the shit's gonna fix itself, and I'm gonna have fucking a mess in that chat box area. I just opened YouTube and it was the decal message. Interesting. I guess that's fair. I don't ever actually open YouTube. I don't know how that stream works. Anyway. We're doing things. We're supposed to be reading.
How are ya?
The picture I kept will remind me.
Your feet on the ground.
Where? Turn your heater off.
I'll be right there.
Alright, hold on. I'll be right back.
Allowing my bedroom of I think him doesn't go on
The crouch, so. Okay. Well, since I'm taken away from what I was doing, as per usual, let me order pizza real quick.
what did he say, Daddy?
I'm ordering pizza. Yes, I can only ever order from Little Caesars.
Ask him, say you were gonna eat her stuff.
What?
He was gonna applesauce and you for dinner.
Hey, come here.
I was gonna eat those before that came, okay?
So I assume that you want me to get you breadsticks, which means I have to get pizza from here.
Say, please.
Yeah, but you're probably getting pizza from somewhere that's not Little Caesars because people in that house will eat things. It most definitely is Little Caesars. Oh, okay. Well. Alright. Baby.
Would you like it?
Yeah, good job, bud.
Yippee! This is the most realistic of the few I made. This is the most realistic of them. And good. But I think I should have covered a bit of
It's just
the-
Pop and I, and he likes the little pizza bite things. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the pizza bites are good. Baby. Why is APR open? Ba-ba, 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 ba-ba. I just got the Mrgl. I almost knocked over my mead. That would have been bad. Okay. We're still picking flowers. I don't know why that guy had to gargle yogurt to get that sound. I can just do it without. If you go into my house, it's one of the only things in my house. I got some blackberry crown you gotta try. Interesting. Plain ass house. Dude. It's a... What does it remind you of? Like, just like... You might not get the reference, or even, like, what it reminds you of. Maybe I ask your mom. Hey, what's my house remind you of with its single chair, one table, and takeout on the table? Yeah, your mom got it. It now also has a Mrgl plushie on the table. Yeah, I know. Don't go in my house. It definitely has stuff in it. Logan's house is empty, so I guess I'm doing better than Logan. Were you watching when I went in Roz's house? Roz has got some goofy shit in her house. It was an adventure. So, you weren't here, or you weren't paying attention, Lynette. I went into Roz's house, and you know that, that reality painting where, like, the staircases go in all different directions? She made a room like that. Under the stairs is diabolical. Yeah, no kidding. Imagine if you played a torrent and you got stuck under there. You know what I'm not looking forward to? Setting up all these fucking UIs again. I think some of these characters are just gone forever, Aaron Hernandez, because I do not want to fucking set up these UIs for all these characters. He's not scared of paper. He's scared of you running around making noise at him. Oh, Logan. Did you not hear him say that in that video? Logan's house has a door. Because I guarantee he didn't take the door out. Oh. Yeah. Hepatitis, see you later. Oh god, that video is the gift that keeps on giving. Fuck you, Chucky!
Wash your back.
Does Little Caesars deliver to your grandparents' house? Is that the only place that delivers to your grandparents' house? DoorDash. I mean, yeah, Little Caesars doesn't actually have a delivery.
They all fell out.
Your brother came home from school yesterday and was showing me, like, gold Pokemon cards.
Hey,
I could get Pizza Hut on DoorDash. You can? Yes.
I traded those. They didn't send from
I didn't say you stole them. I said that you showed them to me. I wasn't accusing you of anything. Logan said you better keep those cards nice. They get pricey. Pizza Huts here don't employ delivery drivers. They use DoorDash. Our Pizza Hut has delivery drivers, but I don't know for how much longer. Like, I would imagine that it's cheaper for them to just have DoorDash do it, but more expensive for the consumers, because DoorDash delivery is fucking expensive. Like, I just ordered pizza from Little Caesars and it was $60. Yeah. That's why I fucking hate getting delivery. Like, it doubles the cost of the fucking food because DoorDash and Uber Eats and all them are fucking expensive. Yeah, no, I get it. I'm just saying that we actually do have, like, Domino's and Pizza Hut actually have delivery drivers. But if you, like, Logan, so if Logan and his grandparents want Domino's, Logan has to come over here because Domino's won't deliver to their house, but they'll deliver to our house.
Daddy,
Yes.
can you take a picture of these and send it to Logan? Because I really want to.
Dude, I am on camera and Logan's watching me. You can just put him in front of the camera.
Oh.
Here, Logan. He wants you to see these. Oh, you can't see him. There you go. That's what he wants you to see. This one's pretty cool. The Evolution series. That one's pretty neat.
Yeah, this one is cool, isn't it? It's old school, the whole evolution line. It's the old school ones, the whole evolution. supposed to be put together if you want to see the whole picture.
Let me see it.
You wanna
Logan wants to know if that one's real. 'Cause he's never seen it before.
I don't know if it's real or not.
I assume it's real. I don't think you can duplicate the back, right? So yeah. Dude, I hate that I have to use the blocks, but yeah.
Let's put it back. They don't want it.
Oh, dude, I don't want to fucking message this driver. That name is definitely not someone of my lack of melanin. No one likes to be led. I forgot to look at my fucking mailbox again. Hey, babe, come taste this mead. Why'd you do that? This is the last bottle of this.
Your phone right now?
Nope.
Oh, I see the color now.
Just drink it.
What about water?
I said it's the last bottle. We have bottles of Pog still. Yeah, no habla Spanglish.
Oh, it's a strawberry kiwi.
It is not.
What is it?
It's the watermelon chili powder.
Oh. Oh, there it is. Oh, got the chili.
Which one did you eat? Oh, the one that was in the fridge? The new ones are on the table. I also got my beard samples. They come in individual velvet bags. Alright. Mage weave bags. That's what I've got. I did sell some of these Mage Weave bags right before the pre-patch dropped. They didn't buy them for my full price though. The price dropped significantly. I almost feel like it would just be better if I just sold them. Like if I just vendored them. Why would anyone buy anything less than like C-bag? Yeah, I don't know. You're asking the wrong person. I didn't set up the TSM group that says, hey, you should make 100 of these. And regret it every day of your life. Yeah, it's not, so it's somebody that I follow. It's his groups that he put together, But like when you try to automate it to be like, hey, restock these items, and it like it goes through your whole catalog and then says, oh, this is profitable, and then, you know, I'm stuck making 200 fucking mage weave bags for no goddamn reason. The funny thing is I only have like 63 of these left, which means somebody's bought 37 of these. And I have 93 of these, so somebody bought 7 of these. At 25 gold a piece-ish. Give or take a couple gold. I'm like, why would anybody buy that? Like, this is a, what is this, 12 slot bag? Who's looking for 12 slot bags? Like, you can get 36 slot bags. Crazy. Crazy, I say. Yeah, like, these are 24 gold a piece. Who's buying this shit? I mean, clearly nobody. I haven't sold any in a while, but... My my mailbox is significantly smaller now that I've disenchanted all the War Within stuff. I didn't believe the price for that recipe. Oh yeah, that one that you linked. That was insane. Again, the question being, who's buying that? Like, I'm not buying that. What recipes did you sell for 10 to 20k? Oh, I know why the fucking... okay, I know why the chat box is not working right. Alright. There should be less clutter in the chat box now. Some old vanilla cloth recipes. Oh, that are... okay. That makes sense. Oh, I forgot they put in the 50% off transmog stuff. So you can transmog your stuff now, apparently. What's up, Bolt? Huh? What are you doing? What are you looking at? Why are you eyeballing my monitor? Yeah, I'm still gonna wait. 800 gold is still too much. Hello. When I went live, I thought Ace or Bolt was gonna greet you guys from the back of my chair, but he got down before I put the screen up. No, that's not a toy. I've told you that already. No yakking on me either. What are you doing? You're so weird. I can't find any info about that card except that there's a PSA one, a PSA 10 one going for $1,000 and a non-graded for... I can't find any info about that card. What card? Did I miss something? Oh, the Pokemon card. Stop biting me! God damn it, cat!
I'll get it. I'll get
It is in a sleeve. It was in a... Yeah, I showed it to you in a sleeve.
you.
Yeah, all three of them are in sleeves. And then he put the sleeves in another sleeve in his binder. It'd be better if they were protective sleeves and not just like regular card sleeves, but whatever.
Don't leave that little. I could put them in the binder.
Yeah, I know.
So,
I know.
unless I need to put them in a box.
Holly, I hate you.
You're gonna put what in the box? The binder or the cards?
The parts in a little violet white clear box. That had those.
Might want to have him put that in a thicker display. That's what I'm saying. If he had the harder stock sleeves, if he got it from school, it's already degraded, but it's still a cool card. I mean, it's in pretty good shape.
That's
I'm not a card appraiser, but
person which I traded.
I've definitely seen him with worse cards.
My friend Carson, that's the one. That's the kid in my class who I traded with for that card. He must have been taking good care of that card.
Well, I mean, your brother's not wrong. If you got it from school, it's probably not pristine.
It has a barely. It has a teeny, like you can barely see a teensy tiny itsy bitsy dent that goes this way.
Okay.
And if you swap it this way, then the teensy tiny little dent goes that way.
Okay.
But nothing else. No little scratch.
I wish there was a way to resize this window so it wasn't all distorted in there. When he finds out that a teeny tiny dent drops the worth about 90%, yeah, I know. It doesn't matter. If you take it to a card appraiser and there's a dent in it, it's not going to be worth anything. Well, that's not how that works. Yeah, well, they're going to take it out of there to appraise it. And then they're going to grade your card, and they're going to grade it down a grade so they can give you significantly less money for it, and then they're going to bump the grade up and sell it to somebody else for the full cost. Did you hear about that controversy, Logan? I'm sure you did. It's not confusing. It didn't go away. That's not how it works. Just go put it away. Stop messing with it.
Bolt! Stop it!
But did you hear? But did you, I forget what the name of the company is?
Greetings.
But basically, they have a monopoly on card appraisals.
Ancestors watch over you.
Because they have their own grading system, and then they also bought Beckett, which for old school people know what Beckett is. But they bought it, and then they're like, oh, Beckett is working independently. They're still their own company. It's like, that's definitely not how that works. PSA or CGC?
I'm putting it in a...
No, it's a different company.
I'm putting it in G.
I forget the name of it. I saw a video about it the other day. Ads start in 2 minutes and 13 seconds. Can I tell you about a Prime subscription?
I'm putting it in this regular super flimsy.
If you have Amazon Prime, you too could subscribe to your favorite streamer and not get ads. It's free with your subscription to Prime. And then I get $1.
It's a bit more blurry if I put it in the more flimsy.
Why are you messing with it? Just go put it back.
Wait, which one were you talking about? All three of them or what?
I think he was talking about the Charizard evolution one.
Okay. Pictures are these. The sleep pictures are one is in this little corner of it is.
It's not the sleeve that matters, it's the card. Quit fucking with it. I've told you like 13 times. Liz right as they did TBC pre-patch and sold boost tokens, changed the TOS. Really? I don't ever read that thing anyway. It basically just says, this is our property, you give us money, we're still gonna do whatever we want. And if we don't like what you're doing, we're gonna still take your money, and then you can't play anymore. Subject to change.
Be good.
help me open this.
Open what?
This, but this way.
Well, you have to open it this way first. You have to open it like this before you can open it like that.
That was the bottom, right?
Dude, they're the same. There's no top and bottom, they're the same.
So the top of the cracker is the one with the little the little dents. And the bottom is the one where there's little holes because those dents.
Boy.
And there's a bigger spot.
Okay, just deal with it.
Now, fuck.
I've been slowly adding add-ons back to my folder. Some of them are getting updates. Mini map button is not one of them though. Details has gotten an update like every day, but it's still, every time I go into combat, it's still fucked up. Mini map button, that's what I said. Button, is that the name of the add-on?
Hey there. Safe travel.
I thought it was mini map button.
What's on your mind? Keep your feet on the ground.
Oh, I gotta go farming. Okay, I'm trying to figure out what the name of the add-on is. Is it button, or is it mini map button? Because if it's mini map button, I haven't gotten an update for that yet. Also, it's not that it doesn't work. I bet if I put it back in my folder, it would still work. It's just that I'm waiting for like the official updates for the midnight patch. The 12.0 patch. changelog mentions. Posted pic in Discord? Okay.
I don't want to get jump scared.
Discord.
I think I was about to be jump scared by Bolt.
Yeah, mini map. Oh, it's because it's the alpha. You're using the alpha one. I don't have the alpha one. That's the disconnect here. I know you told me that. I'm pretty sure you told me that yesterday. Sometimes I give myself the creeps. Sometimes when my best tricks on me. Okay. I don't know if it's gonna show because it's in a sleeve. Here, he wants to show you that one too, Logan.
I want to show Logan the coolest ones. Like this. Or
What do you need? Slow down. Hello. There is no hurry. Next one is on me.
Sorry I was getting pizza. I don't know how many cards you showed, but I saw the last one. That was it. That was the only one. He's picked up my order.
Welcome, wanderer.
You ride over to get it from the porch? Perfect.
Tell me of your travels.
Please, browse my wares. Jade Serpent, guide you. Tell me of your travels. Welcome. May the mists protect you.
Welcome. Greetings.
Come speak with me. Patience, patience.
Hi there. Bye-bye. Who are you supposed to be?
Stuck under the damn building.
You are in for a treat. I hope to see you again soon.
Greetings, wanderer. Jade Serpent guide you.
Many deals for a friend of the Grumbles.
I'm strike you with loneliness and break your heart in two. Got 'em wept and wailed.
Welcome.
Down to the
Next
sky
one's on
and
me.
said, thank God.
Looking to buy? There is no hurry.
Alright. I wanted love, I needed love, most of all, most of all. Someone said true love was dead, and I found it for you. What can I do?
to get closer.
Bum, ba-da-dum, bum, 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 bum. Well, outside of the chat window issue, I'm glad that the stream is at least stable today.
Tell me of your travels.
Hello. What is your hurry?
Tell me of your travels. Oh, hello. Welcome. Travel safe.
Jackson isn't home. That doesn't have anything to do with my stream being stable.
Hello. May the mist protect you.
Alright, so that's done. So let's plant some more seeds. Alright. Farming is done. Back to the garrison. And then station myself at the bank so when I make the dyes, I can just pull them out and sell them on the auction house. So I won't say haven't seen any difference in deleting my data folder and reloading it, but it's still pretty slow, and I think that's probably add-on related. Yeah, I mean, it's worth doing. If you watch the video that's related to that, I think is in that article I sent you. If you watch the video, the guy, like, what he's explaining makes sense. So basically the idea is that you delete your data folder because every time the game has a patch, it has these data files, but they're compressed. They're compressed data files, and it writes them sequentially. But when they patch something, like say they take something out of a zone, they'll take it out of that database file, but then instead of putting the new code into that database file, it goes into a new database file. So every time something happens in that zone, you could have like multiple inputs from different databases going into the loading of that zone. So it does in fact speed up the loading of the zone itself, but because you're loading add-ons and stuff, like the add-on process adds time into processing the loading of the zone anyway. So like on the base level, it makes sense. It basically is defragmenting your database.
Remember to finish crossing the river before you tell the crocodilist he has bad breath. Good luck, Grandmaster.
Like, there's nothing wrong with defragmenting your database. So basically, what the video boils down to is like every time there's a major patch, just delete your data folder and reload it. Our Endeavor progress is not very good, by the way.
Always begin with intent.
Oh, I got a beam. Oh, look at that. Alright, pizza's here. Be right back.
Yippee! Pizza!
I didn't want to chase the old.
Alright. Pizza's here. Deal with that in a minute. I got dyes to make. I still need to do the Endeavor thing. So I don't even really know what to do. Like, there's an article that came out, so I might read it later. Madden, mommy's calling you. Apparently it's capped. So I don't know if that means that the Endeavor itself is capped or like individuals are capped into what they can actually contribute. Either way, I need to read the article and find out more about it. Your order was delivered. Yeah, I know. I was there. I also have to watch that video that Jackson sent. Oh, thanks, babe. The Fable trailer thing. I started it, but it was 8 minutes long, so I was like, I don't have time to watch this at work. Yeah. It's not a remaster, it's a reboot. But apparently it's going to be a completely new game. Logan, put it in Discord so Show can see it. I mean, it's not a Fable game if you're not kicking chickens. If I can't get the chicken kicker title, then what are we doing? I mean, I am sad that it's not Lionhead Studios anymore. Like, I don't know how I feel about that, but... Well, when I make dyes tomorrow, depending on how many black ones I get, I'll be able to start selling black dyes. Yeah, I mean, of course. I'm not saying Lionsgate was great, but like Fable kind of was Peter Molyneux's deal. $35, $40, $44, $43, $26. So this one. The Kraken start in 12 minutes, I think. Lynette. I'm just doing it for... I mean, honestly, I'm just doing it for shits and giggles. But, yeah. Once I get to 10 of each, then I'm selling them. But because... What the fuck? Oh, yeah. I'm looking at the wrong thing. So that's why I'm doing this. So the Draenor herbs make every single pigment, but there's only 2 herbs that make a single pigment. Every other one of the 4 makes 2. So it's kind of luck of the draw of which ones you get, but blue only makes blue and teal only makes teal. So it's like 4 herbs make 2 pigments, but some of the pigments make multiple. I don't know. You don't get the same yield is basically what I'm getting at. So for my own personal whatever, I'm just keeping 10 in the bank and selling the rest. But only a couple colors have yielded 10 plus at this point. Blue, obviously, because blue only makes blue. Like, the flower only makes blue. So, I have a fuck ton of them. Send some heat our way, by the way, this weekend. I think I might just curl up in a ball. We don't have any heat. We just have lack of cold. Oh, I need to look at that. 55, 25, 42. So it's that one. And some pigments have more dyes associated with them too. So like white only has 4 associated with it. So while that flower makes I forget what colors. It's white and purple. Like the purple one here has, what is that, 7 different ones, but the white ones only have 4. So just kind of depends on how I focus my energy. But yeah, so to answer your question, it's for auction house stuff, effectively. Like, maybe eventually I'll put furniture in my house and I'll dye it, but that's not really on my radar.
Daddy, I'm taking these Funko Pops here down for a second so I can get them. Because he's up here.
Madden does have timing. I have 12 in my bags? What? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Duh.
I want to say
I want you to not put him next to my pizza.
I want to say hi to Logan.
What, you didn't order fur as a topping? No, I definitely didn't. Alright, so I need the top 3? Yeah. 44, 49, 42, 42, 44, 42. So these are the top three.
Daddy, I really want the bird because I want to see birds.
It's wintertime. There are no birds.
What? Oh, there might be at least one, and there might be more. It's plain.
Oh, oops. He's distracting me, so I wasn't paying attention to the numbers. Will you let Ace in, please?
Okay. How did you hear that? Great.
Stop! You hitting your head doesn't do any good. I'm tired of it. Hold on, I gotta go get the cat out of the garage. I... Fucking cat. Okay. Drop the shit off at the bank.
Good to see
Nope.
you.
Hello, Tony.
Grandmaster.
Daddy, stopped Bolt from fighting Ace, and he was about to fight him again, but then I in my arms.
It's fine.
Nope.
We have stream chat problems and cat problems.
Get over here!
And so I'm a little behind in goals to be accomplished tonight. Do you need me to ban someone? Someone like Zero's connecting? No, I don't. I think he can ban you. Like, I think it's physically possible, but I would appreciate if he didn't. It's more work for me. The ultimate unban is IRL speaking. Facts. Okay, so did I get them all? I think I got them all.
Remember
to finish crossing the river before you tell the crocolisk he has bad breath. Great advice, Bonlu. I'm just glad I made friends with, like, y'all, good people, except Shogun. Shogun is sketchy. Stop bullying Shogun. Lynette, hockey. All right.
Great to meet you. Wash your back.
One woman for the virus could have weight.
Okay, I think that's everything. What is this? Something that needs to be disenchanted. All right. Let me take a quick break so I can eat this pizza, and then we'll come back and I will read the new short story. So I will be right back. All right. Here we go. We're going to try to do this without something warm to drink. See how well that works. So, this is the new short story that came out earlier today. If you don't want to listen to me read it to you, shame on you. But it is also an audio drama that Blizzard released. So I'm going to read it to you. You can go listen to the audio drama if you want to. I'll probably go back and listen to the audio drama. I like to listen to the voice actors since I don't get paid to do that. I do it for fun. So here you go. The Void Between by Alex X, who is a lore... I forget what his title is, but he's like one of the curators of the lore at Blizzard. Is that pounding in my head? Or at the door? Umbric mumbled into a wine-drenched pillow. The door, Romath grunted, though the muffled sound indicated he was applying a pillow to his own face. Someone should get that, Umbric said. Someone should, Romath agreed. I shall cheer for your success. Please do not. The noise might kill me. With a groan to answer Romath's quiet snicker, Umbric tumbled off the couch. In his 7 years as a student in Dalaran, barely the blink of an eye to a high elf, he was certain he'd never actually been this hungover before. The friends he'd made among his fellow students of the Arcane, Romath chief among them, were normally a boon to his soul and a balm to his spirit. Though in this case, they were the author of his pounding headache, the culmination of an end-of-term party that had spanned 4 pubs and then devolved into a game of Arcane Mage's Cup, using a deck of cards that had apparently been all Archmages. Squinting against the light, Umbric staggered across the tiny room the Curator considered suitable accommodations for students. I like that they're playing King's Cup in Dalaran. That's glorious. Umbric didn't know that what he'd expected to find upon dragging open the door. A flood or fire or plague of magic carnivorous cheesecakes at the least. No, that was last week. Instead, a decaying book was thrust in his face, brandished with the same intensity that most people reserved for displaying a prized fish, driving him back a step. Rom, oh, it's you, Umbric. Took you long enough. Umbric squinted in the pallid, narrow face behind the tome, and normally sullen expression replaced with a grin that couldn't seem to settle on being smug or manic. Darkon, what? Darkon Drathir elbowed his way in, shutting the door behind him with a wave of his hand. World-shattering brilliance is not to be kept waiting on the doorstep. What? Umbric repeated. Darkon frowned at him, then leaned forward and took a speculative sniff before giving him a look eloquent in its communication of disgust. I believe that wine is meant to be taken internally, Umbric. He glanced over at the sodden lump of blankets that Romath had cocooned himself in and sighed. Neither of you are in any use in this state. He pointed at Umbric, then over at the small table that Romath ostensibly used for dining. Sit. With shocking efficiency, Darkon proceeded to rout Romath out of bed and brewed a pot of strong herbal tea that he insisted would cure any ailment. Perhaps his claims about the tea weren't entirely bluster. Less than half an hour later, Umbric fell dangerously close to alive, and Romath was leafing through Darkon's tome. Well, Darkon, you have done it, Romath said dryly. You have found a book by the only person with handwriting worse than yours. Darkon rolled his eyes. It's in code, you imbecile. Umbric batted Romath's hands away from the book and pulled it closer so he could squint at the spidery writing. And you have deciphered it? Mostly. Mostly, Romath echoed. There was something to the mysterious characters that pulled at Umbrick's mind. Perhaps it was remains of the hangover, but he felt like the squiggles moved when he didn't have his eyes on them, rearranging themselves bit by bit until he could pick out words. Then sentences. Fascinating. This book wants to be understood. I see that what you mean, Darkon. Romas snatched the book back and glared at the open page. You're both mocking me. Could it be, Darkon teased, have I found a tome that resists your charms? Umbrick could tell, however, that his best friend's temper was close to tipping from normal brusqueness into actual pique. He didn't feel like soothing two bruised egos today. It would be helpful to tell us what you are actually planning to do with it, Darkon. I hardly know, Darkon said, pleased rather than concerned. But then, that is the point of an experiment. Typical, Umbrick thought. This was the habit of Darkon's that had formed their friendship. The first time he had shown up at Umbrick's doorstep with a mysterious dust-coated crystal he'd ferreted out of a forgotten corner in the sundry shop. The resulting explosion, after no small amount of experimentation, had blown out all of Umbrick's windows and transmuted every stick of wood in the apartment into semi-sentient butterscotch. The dwarven arias then had left the usual reserved Romath in such a fit of laughter that he'd entirely abandoned dignity and fallen over, unable to breathe around his giggles at each fresh warble of notes. Every appearance of a manic Darkon could be summed up as, it seemed like a good idea at the time, and Umbrick wouldn't have traded even a second of it for all the arcane wealth in Dalaran. Another experiment, Romoth snorted with such force that tea slopped out of his mug. You cannot be serious. This was a familiar refrain to Umbrick's ears. Romath was a rule-abiding model student with little taste for the extemporaneous. But Umbrick saw, too, the glitter of interest in Romath's eyes. As prudish as Romath could be at times, he wouldn't have found such success in Dalaran without a sharp intellect and the curiosity to go with it. Thus, it was time for Umbrick to fulfill his usual role as the bridge between two brilliant mages whose personalities were nearly opposite, which nicely served his own now piqued curiosity. I would know what the book wishes to tell me, and Darkon has never found a prize the three of us couldn't handle together. Oh, come on, Romath. Darkon hasn't managed to kill us yet, despite his best efforts. Umbrick detected victory in the shift of his tone from irritated to put upon. He didn't quite grin at Darkon. Well, how do we start? Together they shoved Romath's furniture against the walls, rolled up the carpet to reveal a scarred wooden floor that could have done with a thorough sanding, and used the stub of chalk to outline a warding circle. Darkon went over the circle after adding a symbol here and there to focus and direct arcane currents. Romoth, you ward the north, Darkon said, waving toward an appropriate bit of the circle. Umbrick, you go, he consulted the book, south. Umbrick took his place, careful not to smudge the chalk. This felt quite ordinary. He and Romoth would support Darkon while he did all the exciting work of weaving the spell together. It was the sort of thing they'd learn as apprentices, and the role Umbrick occupied often these days, as Romoth, Darkon, and quite a few of the other students identified their specialties and excelled. Umbrick could hardly resent their focus as he dabbled at the edges, searching for and not finding anything to fully capture his interest. Even the lecturers had begun to remark that he was in danger of becoming a dilettante, yet none could quite object when he chose to spend part of his term reading in their area. Whether it was evocations or illusions, conjuring or divining, he found everything captivating and dove deep until something compelled his attention toward another subject. Darkon kept the book in one hand, gesturing with the other to gather threads of arcane energy into the shape he willed. The words he recited, glancing down at the pages, were entirely unfamiliar, yet Umbrick understood them all the same. The feeling of routine shattered as Darkon's spell formed a torus that twisted into an infinite shape and collapsed inward. becoming a pinpoint deeper than darkness. The form of it captivated Umbric, the flux of energies unlike anything he'd seen before. Is that? Romoth's words came slowly, horror building in each syllable. You wouldn't. Darkon smirked. I knew it. I present to you the Void. The Void, Romath hissed. A forbidden... Don't be such a boring stick, Romath. It's perfectly... Darkon was interrupted by a hand of inky black energy oozing from the tiny portal. Darkon yelled something Umbric didn't quite catch as the hand was joined by another to stretch the portal wider, revealing glowing eyes. Close it! Romath bellowed at Darkon. All the triumph had drained from Darkon's face, replaced by a clenched jaw and a pallor even more pronounced than usual. Right. His ready agreement with Romoth took testament to a fear that evolved quickly to terror as he tried one gesture, then another, then a third before shouting, It's not obeying me! More of the creature squeezed through, bringing with it a wave of yawning emptiness. Romath built a swirl of bright fire over his hands and flung it at the monster, which only seemed to snag its attention. Umbric's skill at offensive magic had never matched Romoth's, nor Darkon's. I'll handle it, he said to Darkon. But Darkon ducked a bolt of shadow. Now, help Romoth. Shadow sizzled through the air as the being fully emerged on their plane in a wave of searing cold. Darkon stumbled over the beginning of a familiar ice spell before he steadied himself. Umbric turned his attention to the magic that had created the gate, now a self-sustaining gyre that drew ambient energy into itself from the planes it bridged. He'd never seen a construction quite like it and had no time to study its intricacies. Sparks of bright fire and shards of ice danced across the edge of his perception as his friends battled the creature, but his mind was occupied with the gate's shape and how it might best be taken apart. Two problems faced him now, with little time to solve either. The escaped void creature, and what to do with all the energy the gate had begun to build into a hollowing nimbus. If I could but link the two together, fuel the banishment with that excess of energy. Working half on instinct, Umbric began to weave a second spell into the one holding the gate open. He found the tight knot that closed the sheer ontological distance between this void-imbued location and Azeroth. A delicate thing, easy to unravel. He reached for it, and with his will, and... How strange, for something called void to seethe and roil with energy and potential. It was not cold nothingness, it was the compacted heart of a star, impossibly dense with... everything. Such knowledge waiting to be known. Why choose one path? The void will give me what Dalaran cannot. What I want the most. The chance to take all roads and never have to wonder what might have been. It was so tempting to fully explore all the unbound possibility he sensed in that roiling darkness beyond. Romath and Darkon would never abide in being so overshadowed. They would keep me small and limited, but if I kill them first... A chill shuddered down Umbric's spine at the tickle of that thought, so seamlessly flowing from the one before it. The concept of murdering anyone, let alone friends so dear to him, was abhorrent. Yet he could almost taste the channel of dark power it teased, the probabilities dancing at fingertips still sticky with blood. No. He severed the bridge that linked Void and Apartment. The spell he'd created on the fly seemed to work perfectly. The bright flash of energy as the gate began to collapse, becoming a net that snared the monster. The creature, unprepared for this sort of assault, while it held Darkon and Romath at bay, let loose a reverberating shriek as it was pulled back through the now pinhole-sized gate, stretched and warped like taffy. An instant later the portal collapsed, and Umbric realized he'd miscalculated how little energy trapping the monster would actually expend as the backlash flung from his face first into the floor. He tasted blood and lightning, and his ears popped several times before he could properly hear again. Umbric! He felt rather than heard the thump of Romath going down on one knee next to him. Nothing broken, Umbric mumbled against the floor. I don't think. With a slow care that belied his outward brusqueness, Romath levered him to his feet, at which point Umbric became aware of the blood flowing freely from his aching nose. Well, almost nothing broken. Romath rounded furiously on Darkon. You could have killed us all, you fool! Darkon grinned unabashedly. Do you know what this discovery means? A void gate? It will mean your exile, Romath snarled. Of all the idiotic, you are the idiot if you cannot see. This was only going to get worse, Umbric realized. Darkon was overexcited by both the discovery and a narrow escape from death, and Romath. It was so easy to read the utter terror beneath his blustering. Maybe they could be a reasoned discussion about what had just happened someday. Now it was edging perilously close to a fight. Romath, your handkerchief, please, Umbric interrupted. What? Oh. Romath looked toward him, his expression closing off into a cold sternness as he dug the white linen square out of the sleeve of his robe. Umbric took advantage of the pause his freely bleeding nose had bought. Darkon, run to the alchemist and fetch me a health potion, please. She likes you best of the three of us. Darkon swallowed whatever he'd been about to say. Right. Grumbling, he departed the moldering tome that had incited the whole unfortunate incident tucked under one arm. Keeping the handkerchief against his throbbing nose, Umbric turned his attention to the remains of Romath's furniture and animated the pieces to begin putting themselves back together. Sit. It's my furniture, Romath said. I will, once there is a chair in one piece. Besides, I had a part in making this mess. Romath huffed, then pulled a broom out of the closet and enchanted it to begin sweeping the chalk from the floor. If I had known that was Darkan's delightful surprise, you would have missed out on the fun, Umbric said. Fun? One of the chairs looked stable enough to bear weight. Umbric dragged it over to the small room's generous window, which obligingly opened itself at the gesture. He sat gingerly, leaning out over the daytime bustle of Dalaran. The babble of voices distant, but still too great to be entirely dampened by magic. Had it really been so little time since Darkon had dragged them both from their sleep? Umbric looked over a large group of chattering apprentices having lessons out on a wide expanse of lawn, at a trio of gangly teenagers testing freezing spells, and a grand procession of some visiting dignitary or other winding through the streets. What had once seemed so impossibly bustling and noisy looked simple now, ordered and legible. Romath drew up a still wobbly chair next to him, though he was far too dignified to lean out the window. He gave Umbric an expectant look, one eyebrow raised. Umbric returned his gaze. Even you must admit it was a learning experience. The words felt unforgivably tepid as they left his lips, but he was nowhere close to sorting out anything in his own head just yet. Romath snorted. It seems I alone am listening when the priest speaks of the void. Hunger without end that twists the weak and foolish into madmen and murderers. This was not the confirmation I required. Was that all you saw? Should I have seen more than that monster trying to kill me? For a moment, Umbric considered telling him about what he'd felt as he touched the void. Not insatiable darkness, but potential. Though he considered too the strange thought that had inserted itself into his mind. Would Romath consider that a point for discussion, or a reason to haul Umbric in front of the aforementioned priests? No, of course not. At the suspicious narrowing of Romath's eyes, Umbric hastened to add, I merely hope there might be something more. Romath waved the topic away like it was an annoying fly. I ought to tell the Council of Six what Darkon did. Umbric didn't want to lose one or both of his friends over this. I will have a talk with him. Not good enough. You will have him exiled from Dalaran, Umbric pointed out. He would have gotten himself exiled. If the Council takes that much exception to an experimental void gate, I don't think they will look too kindly on our part in it either. They would be fairer than that, Romath said, though he sounded doubtful. Let us not put it to the test. Romath seemed to sigh out the last of his anger, leaving only remnants of his fear behind. Do you think he will actually listen to you? Telling him yes would be a lie neither of them could believe. I will do my best, or at least convince him to leave you out of it. Romath's eyes narrowed. Just me? Us, Umbric shook his head. I have other things I would rather study, things less detrimental to my good looks. The unwed ladies and gentlemen of Silvermoon will mourn this day, Roma said dryly. Umbric, yes. Promise me you will not suffer Darkon's nonsense again. Romath took in what remained of the broken furniture with the sweep of his hand. Umbric considered once more the fathomless depths of possibility he'd sensed. There was so much more, an infinity that invited him to broaden his reach rather than narrow his focus. They would keep me small and limited. Then he recalled the feeling of blood cooling thick on his fingers. Not for the first time, he wished desperately that he had some measure of Darkon's burning desire to learn and damn any consequences. Or Romath's unwavering conviction that not only drove him to excel, but afforded him such certainty. He lacked this drive within himself, still confused and reeling and struggling to think around the sharp throb of his nose. The potential consequences, expulsion, exile, or worse, were far clearer than those already fading impressions of the infinite. What good could such uncharted possibilities bring at any rate? Silvermoon needed pillars of strength like Romoth and sharp minds like Darkon's to guide the course of her future, not an offering of uncertainty born on a sea of questions that might never be answered. Remember why you are here. The thrill of learning, yes, but the ideal of service first and foremost. One day soon he would serve his home as a magister, side by side with his dearest friends. That was the treasured and tangible vision of the future they'd all built together over many a night deep in their cups, and he wished no other. He met Romath's gaze, his best friend's usual sternness still shocked through with concern, and said the words that should have come more easily and quickly. I promise. Umbric cursed as he caught his foot on a broken paving stone, his body, weakened by lack of food, sleep, but most of all the energy of the Sunwell, had not the strength and coordination he might have once employed to save himself. He went sprawling, his knees and hands stinging from the impact, but he had eyes only for the cracked leather valise that had partially cushioned his fall. It seemed undamaged as he scrambled to pick it back up. A scan of the street revealed it to be deserted, half choked with debris. The only sounds were a distant, desultory weeping and the unsteady clatter of unfastened shutters being thrown about by the wind. Umbric fought the hysterical urge to laugh. Silvermoon was a battered shell of a city, still smeared with filth from the Scourge's invasion, and her people, withering without the steady magic of the Sunwell, lingered ghosts in waiting. Of course, there was no one to see him hurry away like a thief. Still, he could not help the furtive glances he threw over his shoulder as he staggered toward his apartment, dizzy with the clawing pangs of withdrawal. He didn't stop until he had slammed his front door shut behind him and locked it. Exhausted, he dropped his package on one of the end tables and sagged onto the settee near it. While he waited for his heartbeat to slow, he stared at the valise, eyes aching. I'm going to burn you once I catch my breath, he informed it. He imagined it uttering a sharp, mocking laugh in answer. Withdrawal has finally thrown me into madness. A fever dream had carried him back to the better days in Dalaran, when he and Romath had spent long afternoons studying in a succession of coffee shops, and Darkon would come find them with some new, idiotic experiment he wished to conduct. But it had brought other memories rising into his disordered thoughts when he woke. Ones that had sent him halfway across the city to what had once been a cheese shop, but was now a ruin, and within, a hidden study Darkon had shown him years ago. Umbric put his face in his hands. What did I think I would find here other than pain, guilt, and horror? Darkon had always considered Dalaran's rules minor but annoying, though his behavior in those days was a far cry from tearing down the wards of Kel'Thalas in service of the Lich King. It ached, like pressing a finger against a bone-deep bruise, to consider Darkon's part in setting the Scourge loose in Silvermoon, in opening the Sunwell to incurable corruption, as it was used to sentence his own people to corrupt madness or slow, wasting death. Darkon's hidden study had been a mass of wreckage, though it was impossible to tell if it had been at the hands of the Scourge, Darkon himself, or the furious magisters who had sought to destroy every blackened trace of him. Mrgl should have left then, when he found himself ankle-deep in drifts of shredded, charred paper. There was still enough of Darkon's script on those remnants for a few words at a time to be legible, and what he read made his skin crawl. But then he'd found the Valis, the only intact thing left in the room. Or perhaps he'd been meant to find the Valis. Perhaps this was a trap that had been laid for him. If only Romoth were here, he thought, and of all things that made him laugh. Romoth was gone in Outland, dead for all Mrgl knew. If Romoth were here, they would have been working together to solve the Blood Elf's great and deadly problem, and Mrgl never would have ended up in that cursed cellar or brought the no doubt equally cursed Valis into his arms. Romoth would tell me to burn you too, he rasped, and he would be right. Mrgl pulled himself to his feet, holding on to the back of the couch, while a wave of vertigo passed over him. He carried the Valis to his fireplace, intent on throwing it in. And then he noticed its flap was loose. The lock must have broken when he fell. Doesn't matter. Burn it. If only he had Romoth's strength of conviction, he would have already cast the thing into the flames. Instead, he found himself wondering what was inside. It was the same sort of curiosity that had driven him to take his schooling in Dalaran, had set him on the path of the Magisters, and now, stripped down to his bones by the loss of so many friends and the withdrawal of the Sunwell, the marrow that remained wanted only to know. Are knowledge and power tools that we wield or masters that wield us? Was Darkon the victim of forbidden powers, corrupted to monstrosity by a foolish decision to take one step down that dark path? Or did he choose each day to become a monster, to care for his own ambitions above all else? The former was a much more comforting thought, making that great evil an inevitability like an earthquake. It was painful to set aside to open himself to more guilt. Perhaps, if I hadn't chosen Romoth over Darkon, if I'd found a way to keep us all together as friends. No, perhaps I could have helped him find a better path, but neither did I choose his course for him. Mrgl leaned his forehead against the mantle, which felt cool against his skin, despite the fire that crackled merrily beneath it, and pushed back the flap of the Valis. He would at least know what he burned before he cast it into the flames. The corner of a tome poked out from the depths of the Valis. Mrgl's heart fluttered unsteadily in his chest as he pulled out the book. For all that he had seen the cover once, pushed practically against his nose many years before when he'd been desperately hung over, the sight was seared into his mind's eye. Of all the relics Darkon would have kept from his schooling days, Mrgl had never expected this. The memory of what he had felt upon touching the void, that infinite possibility and power, crashed over him like a wave of cold water, and his breath caught. Was not the lack of such omnipresent power what was killing them all by inches now? Promise me you will not suffer Darkon's nonsense again. And he was sworn to Romoth back then. And he had sworn to Romoth back then. Mrgl's fingers tightened against the tome's cover, the leather flaking against the ragged crescents of his nails. Yet who does such a promise serve, as we all waste away? Mrgl hurried to his desk and dumped the contents of the Valis. Stray coins, half a deck of dog-eared playing cards, broken quills, the ancient crumbs of what might have once been a biscuit. The only item of interest was the tome itself, and he tore into it. It was strange that Darkon had kept the book, when his interest had obviously been fixed upon necromancy. Mrgl might have convinced himself that the volume had only been kept as a memento of better days. But for the sparse and cryptic notations in Darkon's familiar crabbed handwriting, he kept catching himself upon in the margins. A half-finished equation concluded to nothing. A few passages about a place called Telegrus underlined with dark intensity. Perhaps there are more notes if he continued to dabble in this topic, but they're not here, and if they were in his study, they're no longer intact. It was not a useful line of thought, and Umbric dismissed it for now. Better to see where the book might take him before setting off on a potentially fruitless search. Umbric turned back to the beginning of the tome and began to read in earnest, the words eagerly arranging themselves before his eyes into a nearly musical flow of information that led inexorably to the principle of constructing a void gate. Gates were meant to provide passage from one place to another. If the void was to be the salvation of the Blood Elves, what needed to flow was energy, not monsters. He needed a conduit, not a gate. Umbric fetched his chalk and began to draw a new arcane circle on the floor, modifying glyphs and adding equations as he worked. He slept now and then, perhaps, his cheeks resting on the book, and woke with his lips tasting of ink and chalk. After days, weeks, he traced a diagram, retraced it, and found no gaps in his theory. He clawed strands of magic from distant ley lines and spoke his spell without truly hearing his own words, operating on desperate instinct. This time, there was no chores, nothing visible to the naked eye. It was something entirely felt rather than seen, like he had touched his fingertips to the fathomless dark ocean of infinite space away. With a roar that resonated in his bones, it rushed through him, filling his blood and marrow and rising up through his lungs and heart to crash into his brain in the span of a breath. For a moment, Umbric saw everything. Not the mere breadth of Azeroth, or even the great dark beyond in which she sat, but something that lurked within the gaps of reality. A kaleidoscope of creation beside a vast, unending nothingness that rebounded and contradicted. Something dark and deliberate moved between him and the everything, like the moon's eclipsing the sun. Part of him was grateful for the ebb of that overwhelming flow, and then he was frightened at the knowledge that something could throttle the rushing surge of a force so primal and unending as the void. Possibilities still flowed over him, but he could understand them fully now. Visions of futures that could be his if only he were bold enough, clever enough, sly enough. He could rule over Silvermoon as the god Magister, beloved by those he had saved with the gift of the void. The people sought solace in him as they once had the Sunwell, singing praise upon their knees as he nursed them on an uncontrolled drip of the void's energy. It's what I want, isn't it? To save us all? But this future felt like slipping on shoes that weren't his. He wanted to free his people from their desperate hunger, not enslave them with it. This is more Darkon's dream than mine. And thank the Sunwell he chose death as an easier route to power. Had he known, who would choose death when they could possess even one crumb of the infinite? Another possibility eased past the occlusion of the shadow. Umbric at the ear of Kael'thas Sunstrider, a respected chief advisor, a power behind the throne of the prince, presided over a cool, dark well of void energy. This was more to his liking, but where was Romath? Dead, of course. He'd never stand to see me overshadow him or bear the presence of a power he could not control. No, that didn't seem at all like the Romath he knew, cranky and unbending at times, but always acting from a core of loyalty and duty. No, this voice he thought was his own was in fact the shadow presence, Umbric realized. In one way, it had saved his sanity by standing between him and the raw everything that they had foolishly named a void. But what possibility he touched now filtered through it. This was its offer, the void tamed and measured out, and yes, he could of course use it to save the Blood Elves, but he could do so much more. No. The next thought that filtered into his mind spoke of Darkon's voice, each word lilting with mocking logic. You were eager enough to see me, your dear friend, sacrifice for the good of Silvermoon. What's one more death compared to the survival of all Blood Elves? And you know Romoth would agree with me, grinding his teeth to powder even as he did. Umbric could not tell if that thought came from the shadow presence, from within his own mind, or from some shade of Darkon. It did not matter. Umbric had never been interested in moral philosophy, and would have been hard-pressed to argue the logic even on a good day. His dislike of conflict had kept him away from Dalaran's ubiquitous and spirited debates. Yet justification was not necessary if he did not accept the point as worth arguing in the first place. No, I refuse such bloody expedients. If possibility is a truly infinite force, then there must be a world in which I can save my people without sacrificing everything I love. Umbric sucked in a breath, his throat raw from screaming, awareness of his body and all its pains coming back. I will find it myself, he croaked. His hands felt numb and distant, still tangled in the frayed threads of the arcane. He moved them with a clumsiness he hadn't known since the day he had become an apprentice, and cut the spell off. The shadowy presence vanished, but so too did the torrent of potential. Utterly bereft, Umbric fell to his knees and wept. A moment, an hour, a lifetime passed, but then a damp cloth settled on his brow, its cool softness at odds with the sharp command that followed. Wake, Umbric. I have no time for your dramatics. He'd know the voice of his dearest friend, and the affection and humor hidden in that harsh tone, even if he were 100 years dead. With a heroic effort, Umbric dragged his eyes open to see Romoth leaning over him. He wondered if this might be a dying hallucination. Romoth looked far healthier than any of the Sindorai had in months, though his eyes flared an unnatural green. Am I dead? Romoth snorted. If my reprobation is to be your reward after death, that speaks ill of the life you've led. Umbric remembered, struck with sudden hectic energy, what he'd been doing. He tried to sit up. How did I come to be on the SETI? But Romoth pushed him firmly back down with a hand against his chest. I found it, Romoth. The solution. Romoth glanced at the rest of the room, eyes widening as he took in the state of it. What did you do? The energy, knowledge. It's infinite. It would save us. A conduit, you see, not like Darkon's gate. Romoth looked toward the arcane circled and smudged chalk equation. The smudged chalk equations, then the tome still lying open on the floor, his expression going stiff and cold as he recognized it. He turned his attention back to Umbric, his tone rising to an angry growl. You gave me your word. We are dying. I trusted you, Romoth shouted. I slept more easily because I knew you were here, watching over Keltalos, and yet I find you... His expression twisted with anger and disgust as he swept a hand to take in the mess of paper and chalk that had overtaken Umbric's sitting room. How many laws did you break to obtain this filth? To read it? This... He snatched up the book and brandished it. Annotated by a man who betrayed me, you, everyone, and welcomed the dead in to slaughter us all, who enabled the defilement of the Sunwell and sentenced our people to starvation and madness. The successive shocks of fear, anger, and horror as Romoth's words struck him like blows helped Umbric pull his thoughts into some kind of order. I will not turn on our people as Darkon did, Umbric pled. You know me, Romoth, better than anyone. I have no interest in acclaim or power, no matter how the void has tried to tempt me. I only want to save us from extinction. Romoth took a deep breath and seemed to master his anger. The madness of the Sunwell's loss has touched all greatly. He glanced at the book still clutched in his hands and cast it into the fireplace. Umbric flinched at the sound of it hitting the logs, the crackle of it as it caught fire, but he knew somehow that he had learned all that book had to tell him. Romoth continued, It will not come to that. Kael'thas has sent me home because he found a solution, and I am to teach the first part of it. There is a method to let us siphon the energy we need. From where? For now, artifacts. Objects no longer in use. That manner of thing. That is no permanent solution, Umbric pointed out. I never said it was, but while we regain our strength, Kael'thas is acquiring a greater source of power that we will be able to use. Thus, there is no need for you to take such drastic action. Our prince will bring us our salvation. Trust in him. Romoth's invocation of Kael'thas's name should have been more comfort. Umbric had known the man only peripherally when they'd all been students in Dalaran, but he was King Anastarion's son. He could not help but think of how they had all counted on the Sunwell as an immovable pillar upon which to balance their lives without a second thought, and how unprepared they had all been for its destruction. And he thought too, I once trusted Darkon. I no longer think it wise to trust one's fate to a single savior, be it the Sunwell or Kael'thas. Romoth's lips formed a thin, displeased line. Had you journeyed with us, you would understand. He reached out and briefly rested the back of his hand against Umbric's cheek. You're feverish. Set aside this madness, Umbric, while I can still excuse it. Odd how clear my thoughts feel. Clear enough to see the favor Romoth offered unasked for. If he let the matter drop, Romoth would chalk it up to withdrawal and sickness, and all would be forgotten. Continue to push the issue, and Romoth, who believed in the law above all things, who did not compromise, whose heart still bled in the aftermath of Darkon's betrayal, would set the spellbreakers on him. Umbric squeezed his eyes closed against the ache in his head. He was too tired to try to argue a wall like Romoth into bending right now. His knowledge too shallow, his understanding of the void too nascent. I will learn, and when I have mastered this study, Romoth will listen to me. This time Romoth did not stop him from sitting up. He took the cloth from his brow. All right, Umbric said. I will hear what solution you have brought. It is my birthday soon. Perhaps I am walking into a surprise party, Umbric thought with a grim humor as he rapped his knuckles against the door of the council chamber. He would take any spark of levity to keep at bay the sure knowledge of something was very, very wrong. He'd only just turned away from the Sunwell's chamber by the guards there, a strange occurrence in itself. With the Sunwell now healed and stable, there was no reason for a magister of their people to be denied entrance, let alone one of Umbric's standing. He'd been puzzling who best to speak to about this mistake. Lortimar, perhaps? When a messenger had halted in front of him and handed over a summons to the full council of magisters. A full council about which no one had bothered to inform Umbric. The doors opened and he took in the scene before him. Nearly every magister currently residing in Silvermoon City, each looking more censorious than the last. Mela, her hands bound before her, looking strange and small without her spellbreaker armor. Romoth standing with his arms crossed, his expression cold and his gaze fixed on Umbric. Umbric welcomed the surge of anger at meeting Mela being treated like a criminal, plainly the surprise they'd planned for him. I received your summons. This woman, Magister Duskwither said, was caught practicing dark magic and faces judgment, and has already been judged guilty if she is not being given the courtesy of her name. What manner of dark magic? Umbric asked, though he already knew the answer. A ritual of the void, Romoth said. Umbric saw the choice before him clearly. Pretend he did not recognize Mela and let her face punishment alone, or do his best to shield her by giving his fellow magisters the prize they were truly after. Mela would understand if he chose the former. They all knew what risks they took, continuing to study what the magisters had interdicted over his protests after the rekindling of the Sunwell. Fatigue replaced the fear in his heart. He was tired of lying, of hiding, of acting as if the necessary pursuit of knowledge was wrong. He was tired, too, of the hypocrisy of each magister who proclaimed the sanctity of the Sunwell, this second chance they had been served on the tormented heart of Anaru. Umbric folded his hands into his sleeves to hide their trembling. Then I suppose I have best faced my judgment as well, seeing as I am the one who taught her. The gathered magisters erupted into shouting, though Umbric looked only at Romosh. His expression was grim, but not surprised. At Romath's voice was cut through the babble, his words cold and precise. And what purpose could such a ritual have with the Sunwell restored? Umbric had prepared for this day, imagining arguments, clever turns of phrase, ironclad logic that would finally convince the Magisters of what they seemed so determined to ignore. Meeting Romath's eyes, all the careful words were ash in his mouth. You know the facts as well as I do. The Sunwell has been corrupted twice, destroyed once, and required the heart of a Naru we once tortured at the behest of Kael'thas to be restored. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result is madness. Doing the same thing over and over again, Romoth bit out each word, such as nurturing a viper in the heart of our city. Darkon nearly destroyed us. Kael'thas nearly destroyed us. One of the other Magisters, Umbric did not see who, since he could not look away from Romath, from the fury and despair that warred in his eyes, added, "We would be fools to let you become even a footnote on that list of would-be tyrants." I have no interest in political influence or general acclaim, and you know that, Umbric snapped. He read the acceptance of that statement in the slight tilt of Romath's chin. I would ensure we cannot be cornered like desperate beasts again. We Magisters know better than most that power is but a tool, and like any tool, it can be turned to build or harm. Let us create many paths our people can walk, so that the loss of one will not be a disaster. It was the best argument that he had, and it should have worked. It would have worked on the Romath he'd known when they were students. It could have worked on the Romath who had returned bearing Prince Kael'thas' message of false hope if only Umbric had been able to coherently make it at the time. But from the icy stillness of Romath's expression, he knew that his words had found no traction. Your research must already influence you, that you cannot see the Sunwell is the best path, the only path we have forward. Instead, you would open it to corruption again. My research does not touch the Sunwell, nor do I intend to place it in any danger. But I fear the longer we rely on only its stasis and stability, the more closed-minded and zealous we will become. Umbric knew those words were a mistake the moment they left his mouth. While a few of the Magisters, he did his best to note their faces, look thoughtful, the outrage was palpable in the room. None were more furious than Romath. The Sunwell has protected us for millennia, he said, enunciating each word like a slap, and our greatest suffering came from its loss. He took a careful breath. You will destroy your research, disband your followers, and swear before every Magister that you will not speak of this again. His lips formed a bitter line. Perhaps then you will keep your word. Umbric could feel the love that had bound them together as friends for so long, like an overstretched thread, ready to snap. He knew how much pain Romath had felt at the betrayal of Darkon and then Kael'thas. Many thought his friend dour or unfeeling, but Umbric had seen every time his heart had been broken. He did not want to be the cause of more pain for someone who had cared for him so much, who cared for their people so much. And yet, no, he said firmly, I will promise no such thing. Romoth took a step back as if struck. Ignoring the shouts of the Magisters, Umbric said for Romoth alone, I am sorry, old friend. Truly, if I had been strong enough to say that before now, things might have gone differently. The rest was a foregone conclusion that Umbric paid only the barest attention to, shocked by his own decision. He was bound with arcane shackles, formally stripped of his Magister title, and then ungently taken by guards to a prison cell suitable for mages, while the matter was brought before the Regent Lord. Romath refused to so much as look at him as he was led away. In the stark quiet of the cell, Umbric wondered if this would be his end. Dead, and with his students in hiding, a martyrdom that would achieve nothing. It was no doubt possible. The void had thus far shown him that all things were. But that meant, too, there were possibilities that did not lead toward his death. Perhaps fewer than he would like, since it had taken him so long to find the conviction of his cause. Umbric was saved from further self-reflection by Romoth, flanked by guards that he waved away. We will speak privately. He cannot hurt me. Not more than I already have, Umbric thought miserably. Bringing news of my death. Romoth shook his head. I talked Lorthamar out of it. Take it as a favor that you will be banished, you and your followers. I will not be able to shield anyone else after this, nor would I want to. The last gift of a broken friendship, then. I will see it done. Romoth stared at him, mouth working as if he were sorting words between his teeth. You have changed, Umbric. I used to be able to trust you. That hurt, but so did every word now. And you have changed not a whit, after all we have seen and done and learned. With every triumph and disaster that had set their world trembling, Romoth had responded always by planting himself more firmly, a tower built and rebuilt to weather any assault. It was his great strength, the greatest weakness. Umbric did not need to sort through the infinite possibilities within the void to know that eventually every tower met a storm it could not match. There is still time, if you are not too proud, Romoth said. There was a tilt to his lips, so slight that Umbric almost might have imagined it, that spoke of a deep well of sorrow. Lorthamar has a far greater capacity for mercy than I. No, Umbric said, as gently as he could. Why? Romoth demanded. Why indeed? The answer came to him unbidden, a conclusion he had long known but never voiced. I understand my path at last. Though it takes me far from you, old friend, from our people, from all I have known. The universe is too great. We are all fools not to see how small we are in comparison. How much we need each other's strengths. Ha! A path to the void! Romoth sneered. Umbric shook his head. You have walked away from Kel'Thalas before yourself. For our home, our people. Is it so difficult for you to understand that my reasons are the same? I did not happily turn my back on everything that was right in pursuit of a corrupt power, nor lie about it, Romoth's lip curled. We are not the same. I have never been more miserable in my life, Romoth, Umbric laughed with no humor. There are forces far stronger than magic or the void, and far more fragile. Friendship, love, connection. That is what will save us from the next disaster, and the next, and the next. Don't you see? How could he? It is only now, as I speak these words, that I begin to understand. I will wield every drop of power at my disposal to protect Silvermoon, to protect you. I did not ask for that. You have always done what you believed you must for our people, even when you despised it, even when it hurt you. Take pride that I have finally learned something from you. Romoth bowed his head briefly in acceptance. When he looked up, he might as well have been considering the fate of a stranger for all the warmth he showed. You will have one day. After all, you will be exiled by force. Oh, you will have one day. After that, you will be expelled by force. Then you had best let me out. Romoth stood aside, and Umbric began the long walk away from his home. He did not look back, but he knew that Romoth stood there, watching. You looked less nervous the last time you were in battle, Mela said, casually leaning against a boulder. It was a stance Umbric had seen her take often in Silvermoon City while they discussed some point of ritual or another. Only now she wore the armor of a Riftblade and had the purple-cast skin of the Renderai. Do you think that is what this will become? Umbric asked, glancing away from the void gate being built in front of him. His hand itched with the desire to take charge of the delicate work, building a passage from the Telegraph Rift to Azeroth with no simple proposition. But he had promised to let his fellow Renderai have the practice. The broad expanse of sky over Telegraph's Rift swirled with eddying currents of energy and possibility that shone brightly to his eyes when they had all first come here, before the void had changed him utterly inside and out. The sky had seemed dark, oppressive, and empty. How the world seems to shift when one has eyes to see. Don't you? The tilt of Mela's eyebrow over the lilac flare of her eyes indicated the depth of her skepticism. No, or I hope not. We have a much larger mutual concern than old grievances. I'll be sure to note old grievances on your funeral wreath if you're wrong. As a mercy to keep Mela from winding up his anxiety further, the gate swirled with dark energy and opened. I trust you to keep everyone safe while we are gone. Of course, just try not to get yourself burned. Umbric pretended not to hear that final admonishment as he signaled to the waiting mages and riftwalkers to follow him. He did not like that he was taking most of Telgris Rift's defenders with him, but if he was right, they would be needed elsewhere. Traveling by Voidgate felt distinct from the many times he'd used their arcane equivalent. It brought the sensation of being propelled through a roiling ocean of possibilities to inexplicably wash ashore at the correct one. That irresistible magic tide deposited him on a broken stone path overgrown with grass. Windrunner Village. It looked as it had for years, a broken shell left as a legacy of the Horde and later the Scourge invasion, at least now freed of the undead and at peace. Movement to the left, one of the Riftwalkers said quietly in Umbric's ear. A sentry, I think. That was the plan, now we wait. Romath will call this another broken promise, and he will not be entirely wrong. But Umbric could see no other course of action, quite literally. The void was no soothsayer's scrying orb. The potentiality was about the now, with branching futures splitting into even larger infinites. Yet when he had learned of Verisa Windrunner's vision, the void reaching out to swallow Silvermoon, it matched with the ragged borders of his own observations. There was a snarl in the fabric of possibility, one that threatened to consume all Azeroth, and it was near. They were not kept waiting long. Umbric soon after detected the shift in ambient energy that heralded a portal, followed by the growing thunder of many Hawkstriders approaching. Behind him, one of the mages murmured about the honor of being such a threat, that they warranted an immediate response. Umbric wished that he could laugh about it, but it was all he could do to stay outwardly calm as his stomach churned with nerves and tension. As he had both hoped and feared, it was Romath who led the column, back stiff and straight as a poker as he sat on his mount. He looks tired, Umbric thought, though a far more important observation would have been the sheer number of spellbreakers and blood knights who followed at his back. He's made no new friends to bully him into taking care of himself. Any fondness he felt at the sight of his old friend was summarily squashed by the expression on Romath's face. Anger, disapproval, censure, all of those he had expected. But what he caught in the man's expression was disgust. And I'd finally gotten used to how we look. That of all the stupid jokes he could have made to himself broke the inner tension, even if it did nothing for the air between the groups that seethed with hostility. Romath halted by his force, an order of magnitude larger than the number of Renderai Umbric had brought with him, and made one gesture with his hand. The air filled with the hiss of metal as weapons were drawn. I am no longer surprised when you break your word to me, Romath said. We are not here to demand a return to Silvermoon, though I hope I someday might. Rather to address a threat she faces. You and your kind are the only threat I see. Have you been told of the vision given to Verisa Windrunner? Umbric asked, ignoring the obvious bait. There was a slight curl of Romath's lips at the mention of the name, but no other sign of recognition. Umbric quickly explained all that he knew of it and his own observations within the void that comported with her words. You creatures of the void bring me a warning that is You creatures of the void bring me a warning that it will swallow Silvermoon? Romath asked with his disbelief plain. I am no more a creature of the void than you are of the Sunwell, Umbric answered coolly. We wield power. We are not wielded by it. And yet I see no other encroachment of the darkness here. Even if you do not knowingly lie, Xalatath remains free. You could be unwitting pawns in her corruption. Romath bared his teeth. You'll set foot on our own soil again. Remain here and your lives are forfeit. Leave. He cupped one hand, a mote of fire sparking there that flared and rapidly grew. As the Spellbreakers and Blood Knights began to slowly advance, not charging, not yet, but the intention to force the Renderai into flight was plain. Umbric held one hand out to keep his own people still, and desperately sought some path forward in the unforgiving plains of Romath's face. He saw his former friend's furrowed brow, read the words he could not hear. Don't make me do this. Umbric exhaled air and drew in the potential of the void. There were so many possibilities, and most of them ended with him dead, or Romath dead, or the both of them in stupid mutual destruction. He could not even be angry with Romath. He understood too well every step that had led them to this place. With no answer easily apparent, Umbric seized on the single slim possibility that cried out to his heart. He breathed the void out and turned to the long ingrained magics of the arcane, uttering one word of command to set his will against Romath's spell. For a moment they struggled, Romath trying to weave the fireball to its end with a surge of desperation as he sensed Umbric working to unravel it. Umbric had always excelled at counterspells, but Romath had on more than one occasion foiled him with sheer will. Their gazes locked as they fought silently, and then Umbric felt Romath yield. The abrupt collapse of the spell emitted a soundless boom that caught his hair in a burst of wind. One of the Renderai mages uttered a sound between a sob and a hiccuping laugh. Umbric took a step toward Romath, holding his gaze. I could never make you do anything, Romath, any more than you could force me to do something that wasn't in my heart. I know you don't trust the void, and with good reason. What I ask is that, this one time, you trust me. Ha! Romath said, doing the same thing over and over again. Umbric grimaced, but took another step forward. Tell me what harm I have offered to Sunwell. Tell me what harm I have done to Silvermoon other than walking away when I was sentenced to do so. I've broken so many promises to you, and perhaps I will never fully pay for the damage I did to both of us, but there's one charge I have never violated and never will. Trusting you again may well be what damns Silvermoon. It would be a difficult thing to ask of anyone, let alone someone who had been betrayed thrice over. That may be, but I wouldn't be here if I had any doubt that my leaving would make that destruction a certainty. Romath did not answer, his jaw working. Umbric took a careful step and another until he was even with the first of the Blood Knights who had moved to protect Romath, until their sword rested lightly against his neck. There he paused, raising one eyebrow at Romath. So many think you have no heart, old friend, but we both know better. You may have the greatest heart of all, to have been wounded so deeply and lived. Show me that strength once more. Please. Perhaps Romath felt his silent prayer. His shoulders sagged, almost imperceptibly, and raised one hand. The Blood Knight, before Umbric sheathed his sword and moved slowly back. This heralded another wave of sound, far less crisp and eager than the first, of weapons being sheathed. Do not give me cause to regret this, Romath said. Thank you, Umbric said. Romath squared his shoulders. If any of you are seen within the bounds of Silvermoon City or near the Sunwell, you will be executed on sight. The sudden relief that flowed through Umbric compelled him one more step forward, though he did not reach for Romath. I miss you. I'm sorry. We have much to discuss. Perhaps, Romath said. His lips tightened into a frown for a moment, and he reached into his sleeve to draw out the white linen square of a handkerchief. Wordlessly, he handed it down to Umbric, who, utterly baffled, took it. Romath huffed a small, deeply annoyed snort, a sound Umbric had quickly become familiar with. During their friendship, and lightly tapped the side of his own neck with one finger before turning to leave. Stick to the village. Umbric pressed the handkerchief against his neck, and only then felt the thin, sharp pain of where the Blood Knight's well-honed sword must have parted his skin. He pulled the handkerchief briefly away to confirm the bright line of blood against the linen. "Thank you," he said to Romath's slowly retreating form. The man gave no sign of having heard, or perhaps he didn't, over the noise of so many Hawkstriders on the move. Umbric's people rushed up to crowd around him, voices rising in a babble that was half suspicious and half near hysterical relief. "Did he hurt you?" one Riftwalker said. "What did he give you?" Umbric ignored the first question. Only the second mattered. A possibility. And in every possibility lives hope. Ta-da! That's the new short story. So that leads in directly, well, not directly into the story of Silver Moon. It's kind of a part of it. So this is the bad part of having played beta, is that I already know some of the stuff that happens. This is part of the opening story of how, like, Umbric and them get to Silver Moon. But good story. I like it. I hope you all enjoyed it. I know that my reading isn't always great sometimes. Plus, I did that with only meat. I didn't have anything warm to drink, so. Anyway, I'm going to go back and read that, or I'm going to go back and listen to that on my own, but yeah. Pretty cool. I had a thought. So, my rogue never got rid of the Gift of N'Zoth. What if her brother was a devourer demon hunter? Oh god, I hate this.
I have just the thing.
Gold shines like fires in our eyes. Oh, we had a million, but baby, we got nothing. Fool's gold shine like it make us cry. I don't like that on a demon hunter. No. We had a million, but baby, we got nothing. Fool's gold shine. Words that make us cry. Gold shines in our eyes. We had a million, but baby, we got nothing. Fool's gold shine. Words that make us cry. That's infinite. I don't want infinite. Okay. All right. Hold on. Don't throw stones at me. Don't tell anybody. Oh, trouble finds me. Okay, it's after the all right, this is silly. Oh, that's a tabard. Okay. Trouble finding. Do it to me every time. Oh, the redhead said you'd shred the cello. I'm jello, baby. Do won't talk, won't look, won't think of me. I'm the epitome, public enemy. Why you wanna go and do me like that? Come down on the street and dance with me. I'm a lot like you, so please, hello. I'm here, I'm waiting, oh, I think I'd be good for you, and you would be good for me. I asked you to come to the Green Day concert. How cool is that? So I went to the room, read your diary, watching Mrgl drop new jack through a press table. And then my heart started listening to Cho saying, fall in love all over again. What's up, Jack? Chillin'? Me too. Oh, you know, I just got done reading the new short story, and now I'm transmogging my demon hunter, who I'm gonna turn into a devourer demon hunter. But I also have to fix my bars. Because they're jacked up. I did nothing to your bars. Okay, fair. Fair point. They're not correct. They are improper. It probably is Jackson's fault. Honestly, I wish I could blame it on him, but I can't. It is Blizzard's fault. Alright, Mythic Plus. Raid. I think it's Tony's fault, to be perfectly honest. I don't want to work tomorrow. It's going to be 30 degrees in the plant, and nothing is going to be going to run right. I can't help you, brother. Because I don't work tomorrow. Set something on fire, you'll be fine. Nice. Alright, Tony. Have a good night. Maybe I'll see you eventually. Okay. Configure bars. Fading. Okay, now I have to think about what is that? Soul immolation. Okay, we'll leave that there. Vengeful retreat. We'll leave that there. Oh, god damn it. I wish I could move the stupid spell book. Oh, of course it got fucking closed when my computer died. And I doubt it saved it, so... Fun times! Oh, it did save it. Oh, shit. Look at that. I mean, you can't look at it, but... Oh. Stupid ass fucking game. Let me move my fucking windows around so I can actually look at them.
was close. Fatality!
Oh. Some to me. Thank you. Ugh. Oh, my wrist hurts.
See? Watch nine. I hate that. It's the worst. I think if I kept all these cards in there and I kept getting